Looking to do better healing in those dungeons, or you just want a different build guide for your wand and bow healing? Welcome back to the channel all about healing. My name is Teddy, and today we're going to be going down a new healing build guide that I've been playing around with. So if you enjoyed the Throne of Liberty content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on all those notifications, check out the channel for more content, and without wasting any more time, let's get into my new build guide for this extremely overpowered healing over time wand and bow build for Throne of Liberty. In Throne of Liberty, your weapons dictate your class, so in order to start healing with the bow and wand, you will obviously need a bow and wand. Before you can start healing, you'll have to take a look at your stats. You will start out with a base of 10 stats for every single stat. For healing, our main important stats are going to be Wisdom, Dexterity, Perception, and lastly, Strength. Strength will increase how much damage and heals you can do. Dexterity will increase the crit hits and your crit heals. Wisdom will increase how much mana regen, max damage on your magic, and additional ability cooldowns. Then we have Perception, which will increase your accuracy on attacks, CC effects, the duration of buffs, and the max and min damage. For us, this will be for our healing. These stats can be adjusted on the fly by simply hitting reset stats. So if you don't have the right stats on your gear or the stats aren't to your liking, you can easily reset them at a moment's notice. After your stats, we can move on to the skills. Starting off, we have our shield. This is going to be the Chaotic Shield. This will inflict a curse upon blocking, and if a target is inflicted with Touch of Despair, the damage is increased by 10 per stack. This will be useful when blocking and applying weaknesses to further increase any type of heals. Now let's talk about Touch of Despair. This will inflict a weaken curse, which deals base damage plus a little damage over a couple of seconds. This will also increase the attack damage on the target by 10% per stack. This can stack up to 3 times, and when the stacks are applied, the debuff duration is extended. This won't wake any sleeping targets if anyone did CC. Next, we have Time for Punishment. This will decrease your target's skill damage resistance for 9 seconds and has a chance to apply a weaken curse. The higher this is leveled, the higher chances and the higher skill damage resistance is decreased by. Next, we have Karmic Haze. This has a chance to apply a weaken curse on your target and can affect up to 3 nearby targets within a 5-meter radius. Moving on, we have Swift Healing. This is a skill that I recommend getting up to max as soon as possible and trading into. This is going to be your basic heal with being able to restore an ally's health equal to a percentage of your base damage and a little bit extra damage. This can be used up to 3 times depending on if you're traded, and can also restore mana if traded into. The higher this is leveled, the more mana it will cost. Next, we have Healing Touch. This will grant a healing effect to allies that restores health equal to a percentage of the base damage plus a little bit of health per second or 6 seconds. This can stack up to 3 times and can be traded into. This is another one I recommend getting up to epic as soon as possible and maxing out. Now we have Clay Salvation. This is going to be your party heal with restoring a percentage of the base damage and a little bit of damage to all party members within the range. I recommend getting this one up to epic 2 because this will help out with your party-wide heals. Next, we have Purifying Touch. This will remove 1 debuff effect from the selected ally. Successfully removing the debuff effect increases the user attack speed by a percentage for 3 seconds. This can also be traded, and I recommend getting this up to epic because we're going to be using this for this build. Going hand in hand, we have Nature's Blessing. This will immediately remove a weaken effect and increase health regen, mana regen, and enhance health regen. This should also be leveled up to epic and max level because we're going to be using this in this build too. As for some utility, we have Deadly Marker. This will increase our magic, melee, and range critical hit chance by a certain amount, and magic, melee, ranged hit chance by a certain amount for the user and party members. The higher this is leveled, the more effects that it will give. Each critical hit decreases all skill cooldown by 1% for the user and party members, while attacking marked monsters decreases all skill cooldowns by 50%, stacking up to 100 times. Next on the list is the Blessed Barrier. This will grant a barrier that will increase the ally's magic, melee, and range defense for 6 seconds. Additionally, this barrier will increase the healing received by a certain percentage during the day and increase the magic, melee, and rage endurance by a certain number at night. For additional 2 seconds, the effect is 2 times greater than the base amount. I recommend getting this up to epic 2 because we will be using this in this build too. Next, we have the Invincible Wall. This will absorb up to a certain amount of percentage of the base damage and a certain amount of damage of an ally for 6 seconds, which can be leveled up to increase the effects and can be traded to increase more bonuses. I recommend leveling this up later on. It is lower, but we still will be using it. Finally, we have our Omnipotent skill. I chose the Fountain of Life because this creates a 3-meter radius area around the designated location for 6 seconds. Anyone who runs into this area is recovered for a certain amount of percentage for every 0.5 seconds they stay in the field. I recommend getting this leveled up as soon as possible and getting this traded out. You can replace the Fountain of Life skill with the Blitz skill. This resets cooldown for the user's last skill, allowing you to do 6 swift heals if you're traded into it. But now let's talk about all of our passive skills. First passive skill we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Earth's Blessing. This will increase health regen and health recovery over time from skills. Next, we have Sniper Sense. Each 1 meter of distance away from the target increases magic, melee, and range critical hit chance. Not to mention, it will increase your critical damage. Vampiric Contract will restore allies' health by a certain percentage for those targets that are inflicted by a user's curse. If there's no one in range, this will heal you instead. Next, we have Noble Revival, which will increase your skill heal by a percentage per 1000 max mana. So the more mana you have, the more skill heal you will be awarded if you're using Noble Revival. Next, we have Saint's Oath. Taking skill damage has a certain percentage to increase healing received, Amato healing, and potion healing by 14%, which will stack up to 5 times. This can help out with the skill damage and your healing if you guys are running the Saint's Oath. Next, we have Selfless Soul. This will grant health recovery and regen to allies via active skills, increasing mana regen by a certain amount and healing by a certain percentage per stack for 3 seconds and can stack up to 5 times. Moving down the list, we have the Devoted Shield. Getting struck by a weaken effect has a certain percent chance to grant a shield for 3 seconds that will absorb a certain amount of damage. And lastly, we have Distorted Sanctuary. This will increase melee, ranged, and magic endurance by a certain amount and health recovery over time from skills by a certain percentage per party member, including the user, within a 16-meter radius. Having all of these will ensure that your heals are going to be hitting harder, especially with those heal overtimes, which we're going to be playing around with a lot for this build. Now that we're done with the skills, let's take a look at the skill specializations, starting out with the longbow. Trading into Nature's Blessing, we're going to choose Vitality. While Nature's Blessing and Healing Touch are active on a friendly target, the target will continuously heal for 130% of base damage plus 30 per second. This also increases health regen by 100 and then additionally boosts it by 50. Next, we're to trade into Cooldown, which will decrease cooldowns by 3 seconds when Weakened is removed. Next, we have Healing Touch. Trading into additional health recovery. When the effect ends, recovers health by 100% of base damage plus 10 per stack. Trading into mana cost reduction will reduce the mana cost of Healing Touch by 30%. Next, we have Purifying Touch. Trading into additional removal has a 50% chance to remove an additional debuff. Another good trait to put in is with cooldown. This will decrease the Purifying Touch cooldown by 30%. Lastly, we have Healing Touch, which will apply 1 Healing Touch to a target upon removal. Next, we can move on to our wand. Trading into Swift Healing transfers will additionally restore the user's health equal to 50% of recovery. Taking consecutive use will allow you to Swift Heal up to 3 times in a row. Skill distance increase will increase your Swift Heal by 5 meters. And lastly, taking mana recovery will restore an ally's mana equal to 50% of base damage. Moving on to Clay Salvation, I did take the radius increase to increase the radius by 5 meters. Next is Blessed Barrier with the target expanded. This applies to party members in a selected location, though the effectiveness is decreased. With choosing Invincible Wall, I did take target expanded. Much like with the Blessed Barrier, this will apply to multiple party members within range, but the effectiveness is going to be decreased. Finally, we have the Fountain of Life. In here, I chose mana recovery for additional 40 mana recovery when healed, radius increase to increase the radius by 2 meters, and lastly, I increased the effect duration by 2 seconds. All of these skills are highly dependent on what you guys are looking for, so play around with all of your skills and see if they're going to be the right ones that you want. The skill specs are how you need them, and just have fun. Your stats, weapon skills, and skill specializations are not the only things that you'll have to be customizing when it comes to getting your class the way that you want it to. Now let's take a look at mastery. Starting off with the wand mastery, it's recommended that you complete the recovery line first. This will give melee defense plus 40, attack speed plus 1.2%, deep pain, which increases your magic critical hit chance by 60, all evasion plus 40, cooldown speed plus 2%, redemptive penance, which will increase your skill heal by 8%, buff duration plus 6%, mana regen plus 42, and finally, merciless wrath, which will give heavy attack chance plus 100. After you complete this, you can earn more mastery and start completing the other lines if you choose. Just focus on getting recovery first. Taking a look at the longbow mastery now, the same rules apply. It is recommended that you complete the support mastery line first. Doing this will increase your max health plus 140, magic defense plus 40, increase your health regen plus 42, movement speed plus 2.4%, buff duration plus 4%, give you Spellbreaker, which will increase your skill damage resist plus 80, magic evasion plus 120, perception plus 2, and lastly, will give you Song of Grace, which will give all CC resistance except weakened resistance plus 37.5. Once you get done this line, you can start completing the other lines. And one final thing, mastery only comes into play when you have that weapon actively equipped. So now let's talk about all of the gear that we have. Of course, we could just go full DPS gear and simply complete our gear score like that, or we can start focusing on getting our healing gear or the best in slot healing gear. Our best in slot wand is going to come from Excavator, either the world boss or the guild boss. This has strength and max mana, but most importantly, this has the Excavator breath skill, which has an additional 380 health heal per 6 seconds when swift healing skill on allies with 40% or lower health. There is a 30-second cooldown, but this makes it the best wand that you can possibly get for your heals. Other wands like the Laquarius coveted tome, which can be obtained from the Cave of Destruction co-op dungeon, is good, but not as good as the Excavator. Other stand-ins like the Tome of Proxenate Remedy, the Sacred Manuscript, Chikai's Mindfire Scepter, or even the Heroic Scepter of Resistance can do as a stand-in. All of these can be crafted, found, or bought off the auction house. When it comes to our bows, our best in slot bow is going to be Aelion's Rejuvenating Longbow. This comes with 3 dexterity, 40 hit chance, and 83 bind chance, but this has a good skill being the Grand Aelion's Blessing. This will restore 110 health on hit with a longbow skill for 6 seconds. Health recovery increases by 100% during the rain, and there's a 30-second cooldown. This can only be obtained from completing either the guild boss or the world boss version of Grand Aelion, and by buying it off the auction house. Our next best in slot bow is going to be the Karnak's Nether Bow. This comes with strength and critical hit chance, but comes with the Karnak's Eye skill that has range plus 9% for the user and their party members within 16 meters. This can only be obtained from Death's Abyss or can be crafted using enough of the dungeon tokens. Then we have bows like the Longbow of the World Tree, which has wisdom and health regen, or the Heroic Longbow of Resistance, which only comes with critical hit chance and bind. Starting off with our helmets, we have the Heroic Hat of Resistance. This will come with critical hit chance and only max mana. Next we have the Divine Justicar Mask, which might be a good stand-in having dexterity and critical hit chance. But most importantly, we have the Swirling Essence Hat. This will come with wisdom, weaken chance, and cooldown speed. The Swirling Essence Hat can be obtained by killing the Avalos Hydromancers over here in the Sanctum of Desire. Killing Manzarok also has a chance of giving the Swirling Essence Hat too, or by opening up the pouches that can be obtained by completing the contracts over in the Sanctum of Desire too. Or you can choose the Ascended Guardian Hood, which comes with perception and cooldown speed. Depending on your stat and which set you're going for, it might not be your best in slot and you should choose the Swirling Essence Hat. The Ascended Guardian Hood can be obtained by killing Cornelius either in the World Boss or the Guild Raid. Now moving on to our cloaks, we have the Supreme Devotion. This is going to come with critical hit chance, health regen, and cooldown speed. This robe is easy to obtain with needing to do the Cave of Destruction co-op dungeon, But if you guys are still stuck looking for a blue cape, the Sorcerer's Cape is a good one, having critical hit chance, hit, and max mana. This can be obtained by killing the desperate zombies out in the ruins of Tyranny. As for your chest piece, the first one that you should be focusing on is getting your heroic robes of resistance. There are many ways that these can be obtained. Simply hitting acquired from can show you all of the locations and every different way that you can obtain these. Moving on, we have the Divine Justicar attire. This is probably going to be your next step or your first step into your epic gear. This is great for having wisdom and weaken chance, but there are better pieces that we can focus on, like the Swirling Essence robe. These robes come with dexterity, wisdom, and heavy attack chance. If going for the Mother Nature set, wearing 2 will increase your weaken duration by 7.5, and wearing a full 4 will increase your attack range by 10%. But these are a little bit harder to come by. These can either be obtained from completing the Queen Bellendir Arch Boss, or by buying them off the auction house. Next, we have the Ascended Guardian Raiment. Not sure if this is going to be the best in slot for you, but this comes with Perception, Max Health, and Stamina Regen. If going for the Transcended one set, the set effect will have for wearing 2 cooldown speed reduction by 7.5%, and for wearing a full 4, it will increase your skill heal by 25%. Getting the Ascended Guardian Raiment can be done by completing the Grand Aeon World Boss only. As for your gloves, the first one that you will probably get is going to be your Heroic Mitts of Resistance. These come with hit chance and weaken chance with nothing else. The next gloves on the list is going to be the Divine Justicar gloves. These come with added attack speed, dexterity, and weaken chance. Next, we have the Swirling Essence gloves. These come with attack range increase, wisdom, and critical hit. These might be the best in slot for you, so double check on how your stats are and if this is going to be the set that you are going to go for. The World Boss version of Cornelius does have the Swirling Essence gloves. Next, we have the Ascended Guardian gloves. These come with perception and mana cost efficiency. These might be lower than the Swirling Essence gloves, but if the Swirling Essence gloves are harder to get, these might be your best in slot. The Ascended Guardian gloves can be obtained by completing the Butcher's Canyon co-op dungeon. Moving on to pants, we have the Heroic Pants of Resistance. These will only come with critical hit chance and max mana. Moving up the list, we have the Divine Justicar pants that comes with dexterity, crit hit chance, and weaken resistance. Moving on, depending on which set you are going for, the Swirling Essence pants comes with wisdom, weaken chance, and mana cost efficiency. The World Boss and Guild Raid Azrael has the Swirling Essence pants. Then we have the Ascended Guardian pants. These come with wisdom, damage reduction, and collision resistance. Like I said, depending on which set you're going for, either the Ascended Guardian or the Swirling Essence pants might be your best in slot. Getting the Ascended Guardian pants can be done either killing the World Boss Nirma or the Guild Raid. And finally, we have our boots. The Heroic Shoes of Resistance is going to be your first ones that you might be able to get with having hit chance and weaken chance. These aren't that great, but we can move on to the next ones. These being the Divine Justicar shoes. These come with movement speed and wisdom. Getting to the end of the list is going to be the Swirling Essence shoes. Much like I said with the rest of the set, these might be your best in slot with coming with perception, critical hit chance, and stamina regen. The Swirling Essence shoes can be obtained by completing the Cursed Wasteland co-op dungeon. Lastly, we have the Ascended Guardian shoes that only come with movement speed and melee evasion. Depending on which set you're going for or which combination, the Swirling Essence shoes might be your best in slot, but your Ascended Guardian shoes can do. The Ascended Guardian shoes can be obtained by killing the Shaman on Ilia's 6th floor, or by opening the Silius contract bag. They can also be crafted too. As for your accessories, taking a look at the necklaces, there's a couple that we can choose from, with the first being the Blessed Templar Choker. This has mana regen, mana cost efficiency, and cooldown speed. Next is going to be the Wrapped Coin Necklace. This does come with wisdom, max mana, and mana regen. Having that wisdom on here might make this your best in slot necklace. As for the Wrapped Coin Necklace, these can be obtained from completing either the World Boss Grand Aeon or the Guild Boss. Next, we have the Clasp of the Conqueror. This could be your best in slot depending on your stats, but this does come with strength, perception, and mana regen. Moving on to our bracers, we don't have many choices here. There is our ancient Ceradoma bracers that come with dexterity, mana regen, and ranged evasion, as the ancient Ceradoman bracers can be obtained by completing Tyrant's Isle. Bracers of the Primal King does come with perception and bonus damage. The Cave of Destruction also has the bracers of the Primal King. But our best in slot might have to be the Gilded Infernal Wristlet with having bonus damage, hit chance, and max mana. As for getting the Infernal Wristlets, this can be done either killing the world boss Malakar or the guild raid. Moving on to the rings, we have the Abyssal Grace Band. This might be a good ring to have with having added attack speed and mana cost efficiency. The Abyssal Grace Band can be obtained by completing Death's Abyss. Next is the Eldritch Ice Band, which does come with dexterity and weaken chance. But our best in slot is going to be our Sapphire Dimensional Band. This comes with attack range increase, wisdom, and perception. This might be a little harder to come by with needing to complete every single co-op dungeon at least 5 times, or can be bought off the auction house. Moving on to the belts, there's only one that stands out, being the Girdle of Spectral Skulls. This comes with ranged defense, dexterity, and mana regen. Adentis has the Girdle of Spectral Skulls. This can either be done in the World Boss or the Guild Raid. Remember, everything can be found by hitting the Acquired From. In here, we'll show you everywhere the item can be obtained, so be sure to check around. Now, unfortunately, once you get done getting all of the gear that you do want, every piece of gear does have 3 traits that you can unlock, with 1 trait coming pre-unlocked. These traits will be randomly rolled when you acquire the gear, so you won't always get the best in slot trait, and you will have to unlock the other ones. To unlock another trait, you have to have the identical item in order to unlock it. Traits can be unlocked selectively, either using the trait unlock stone and choosing whichever trait that you want, or the existing trait can be converted either using the selective trait, using the trait unlock stones and the trait conversion stones, or having a random chance using just the trait conversion stones, but this will have a set chance conversion rate. It is recommended that you don't waste any of your trait unlock stones or the trait conversion stones on any of your minor gear. Save them for any of your world drops or your best in slot to avoid any headaches and having to wait longer for grinding out even more materials. As for the traits you should be focusing on as a healer, for your weapons, always going with heavy attack, crit hit, and hit chance is going to maximize how many heals you can do and just having the bigger heal number. Other traits that you should look into is going to be with cooldown speed if you need it, attack speed on your gloves, skill damage reductions, skill damage boost, max mana, or mana regen if you guys are still needing those stats. As for PvP or survivability, starting with your melee endurance, then your ranged endurance will ensure you can stay alive a lot longer. Evasion is to prevent any crit hits, but it's more beneficial to max out our melee than our ranged endurance. Once the traits are unlocked, you can use the blue grade gear with the matching trait to give a chance at unlocking a higher tier. If you fail, this will give more blessing. The more blessing you have, the higher chances of tiering up whatever trait that you're trying to do. You can check to see which traits are provided on the items, and you can simply hunt them down. Or just in case you're not lucky, you can purchase any trait from the auction house too. But now let's talk about the Guardians. One of the best healing Guardians that we have is going to be Lady Knight Harmache. She has the Eternal Barrier that creates a shield for 50% of the user's max mana. Cooldown speed is increased by 40% while the shield is summoned, and when the summon is done, the shield is finally removed. She can be obtained by completing the Demon's Test side quest found over there in the Mana Waste. Now let's talk about the next Guardian, being the Masked Warlock's Dentalox. Popping Dentalox has the Abyssal Sanctuary. When using mana, the user recovers 26% of the used mana. The user's nearest party member also receives 53% of their mana too. This is a great Guardian to have if your DPS likes to use a lot of mana, and can be obtained by completing the Voice Behind the Mask side quest over there in the Sandworm Lair. Now, as for your healing rotation when the fight first starts out, I recommend throwing an Invincible Wall, followed by a Blessed Barrier, a Nature's Blessing, Purifying Touch, And lastly, healing touch. All on the tank. This should help out with the heals and make sure your focus can be elsewhere just in case the DPS likes to stand in the stupid. On the target, place up the deadly marker and be sure to do your touch despair and your time for punishment. This will allow more passive healing, and if there's more mobs, use the karmic haze to spread the weakens around for extra passive heals. For single heals, do the swift healing, and for any big AoE heals that you need, use the clay salvation. Lastly, the fountain of life can be placed down to ensure the party has extra heals or starts regenerating any of their mana. The rotation will take a little bit to get used to, but I recommend setting this up how you want. This is just my build that I'm using. You are able to tailor all of your stats how you like, all of your gear, and even the gear that you wish to go for. If there's something that doesn't fit in my guide, by all means, change it to fit your build and just have fun with this. But I hope this helps you start doing all of those massive heal over times and just extending how much heals you can put out. Although healing gear is hard to come by, I've been enjoying healing and I can't wait to see what more changes come to the game and all the new content that's still yet to come. If you guys find this helpful, be sure to leave a like and share this around to all of your healing friends so we can get more healers out in Throne of Liberty. I know it can be a little bit hard trying to get down the rotation, your gear, or just trying to figure out the targeting. With all of that out of the way, I will see you guys for the next one. Keep healing out there, everyone.